All right. Are you ready for me to start? Oh, now you are. Perfect. Okay, I'm going to call the Sutter Creek Design Review Committee meeting of Monday, August 11th, 2025 to order. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, item number 3 is public forum. Any person can address the committee regarding matters that are not on this agenda. Do we have any public comment?
No. But I would like to add an agenda item at the end, that we could have a discussion about some of the.
Can you talk into the mic so that we get this on the record? Thanks. Is it on?
Now, this on, okay. Glaring light. I just want to do a housekeeping discussion just at the end with the staff
Okay,
and have everybody participate.
okay.
What is the item?
I don't know, housekeeping or.
Okay.
It's just like a process and procedure question, right?
Yeah, right.
We're just going to talk about it at the end instead of making everyone
We
listen to
we
it.
don't want to do it in the middle of the meeting.
Okay. Okay. All right. Seeing no other public comment, let's move on to the consent agenda. We have the Design Review Committee minutes of July 14. Do I have a motion to approve or any comments on the minutes?
I would move to approve if there's no other comments.
Anyone else? You can still second and vote on it.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carried. I guess it was 4-0. Okay. Design clearance application. First one on this list is 5A, design clearance for 40 Gold Dust Trail. Recommendation is to approve with conditions, design clearance for the demolition, remodel, and reconstruction of Kingdom Hall located at 40 Gold Dust Trail. Erin, do
Yeah.
you want to introduce this?
Yes, thank you. So this application was before the committee in April of this year. The applicant at the time was proposing a different design to the structure, and the committee asked the applicant to do a little bit more research and figure out more history on the structure, because based on its appearance appeared to be historical. And so you requested more information. The applicant has did an in-depth research project on this item or on the building, and found out a lot of great history on it, which I found very interesting. I know John also found interesting. So that's attached to the packet. He's here also and has put together a PowerPoint presentation. And so he can kind of go through some of that history. But as the staff report says, they are asking to demolish the historical front portion of the structure based on the evidence they collected in their engineering evaluations of it. The structure is not very sound. And the applicant and I sat down and met and talked about different options about it. And he even explained that even if they were to try to restore and save that, there's no guarantee that it would withstand the work that had to be done to make it structurally sound. So part of my recommendation to them was that as the materials are being removed, that those materials be reused as much as possible, but on the site, and then also be made available to the community for reuse in other parts of the city. Since I know there's a lot of people in this community who enjoy collecting old materials and reusing them or just collecting them. So I believe that they are agreeable to that. So I'm going to let him, if you're ready, to give your presentation, because it will go through some of the history and some of their findings about the project. Let me make sure this mic is on.
Hello, committee, chair and committee. Yes, thank you for taking the time to review our application. It was interesting since the last meeting in April to do some research. And so research we did, a few got together and pulled some information. On the next slide, you'll see, first of all, something that connects the building on 40 Gold Dust Trail to the old Eureka mine. It's a 1941 USGS map. You'll see the location of the Kingdom Hall circled, plus the location of the mine, and then some dotted line or dashed lines indicating a dirt road, which makes sense at the time. So there, it clearly was part of maybe a larger operation. On the next slide there, you'll see more of recent legal descriptions, all pointing back to the building. Without going into a lot of detail in the legal description, you'll see there in all the writing that it points to, if you follow the red lines there, the arrows, it points to the corner of that brick building. So it's interesting, even our surveyors were careful to preserve that history, which made it easy for us to quickly tie the building to the central Eureka mining operation. In the next slide begins a series of a few photos here that was really interesting. At first, not being from the area, it was hard to believe that this photo would contain that same building on 40 Gold Dust Trail. It's not circled, but it's pretty much kind of to the center and to the left. And that's where the building is today. In the next slide, that same photo is at the Miners Bend Park, which I think is a great place to show everybody what the mining area was like. So, but there at the same park, it provides the plaque or a description of the building, its location, what you see from there, and all of that. And then finally, in the next slide, the same photo there. It's not circled, but at least according to one historian in the area, local historian, we could say this was taken in 1881. And there you see the brick building kind of to the lower center to the left.
For the audience and the rest, you have a pointer? Aaron?
I don't have a picture. This is it, right?
No.
The one right above to the left.
Oh, that.
That's it.
That's it.
Looking.
We're
down.
looking south. And yeah, we're looking south from, like, say, Sutter Creek area, looking south, and you can see the buildings. And so this was provided by, well, confirmed with Mr. Ederata here. That's the location that we're talking about. So that's the oldest photo we have that we can find that shows the building. In the next photo, Amador County Archives, they had some really nice photos of the same location. Here's one of them. And you can see something about the topography is kind of hard to see, but you don't make a lot of bends unless you need to. So you can sense there's the topography changes in this area, which makes sense. And also we'll get to, like, to say the power poles later, but specifically the automobiles in the picture is very telling what we learned there. In the foreground of the building, for example, you'll see it's kind of dark. And it's not so much because of the shade, but there's a drainage. This drainage that goes along from the left, if you will, on that dirt road, coming along to this side of the building, and then flowing to the bottom of the picture, if you will. So there's been drainage considerations they've been working through for many, many years. Now, in the same photo, you'll take a look at that chimney. That is also very telling. We're going to look at the next slide. In this next slide here, you see the same chimney, and you see the two windows and that front door. So we start to really see pictures tying the older pictures with what we see now today. So in the next slide here is another photo from the Amador County Archives. You can see the telephone poles on that dirt road continuing beyond the building there. You see the the covered porch, the walkway, and all of that. This photo is 1960. In 1956 is when Jehovah's Witnesses purchased the building. So what we see here is how the picture describes the former mine office and helps us really see that we're talking about the same building. So this was really important to, I think, everybody. How significant was this building? And we have a lot to show that right now. Now, in the next photo, we get into how old is this building. So this this was really fun research. We looked at the cars. We tried to figure out, okay, how old is this building based on the cars in the pictures? And we think it was built in the 30s, which makes a lot of sense if you think about the history of the old Eureka mine as it transitioned through the different owners and how it got started up in operation in the 30s. It makes a lot of sense that this is taken in the 30s. Now, what's missing in the picture is something kind of significant. What's missing is a concrete vault. So that got us thinking, when was that concrete vault built? And more importantly, why? We don't know. But we do know it had a significant use because first of all, it was reinforced concrete, 4-inch walls, 5-inch ceiling, flat concrete ceiling, and a 7-inch slab. That's what we do know. We also know it has these metal doors that are of that era. And you can see on one of the doors that we see there today, it has a locking mechanism. So we can just surmise that it contained valuable stuff, like maybe metals, maybe paper, maybe money. We don't know. But it was important to the Central Eureka Mining Company, that's for certain. Well, since then, a lot of things have happened. In the next slide, there's not a lot of information between 1956 and 1990, very little. But in 1991 is when an addition was made to the building. And as part of that work, a lot of effort was made to preserve or at least maintain the mining era architectural style. So for example, the shutters there, that is really a 1991 shutter, not 1870. So, but they did good work in that it looks like an 1870 shutter. The front doors, in my untrained eye, I thought, well, that looks pretty good. But someone with a trained eye could probably tell you that's not really an old door. It looks old. I think they did a great job. But the idea is that they did their best to preserve that architectural style. So since then, without going to the next slide, since then, a lot of work was done to preserve that building. The building, as we mentioned earlier, is within a drainage ditch that has really the root of a lot of problems for many years. We have powder post termite or infestations, termites, dry rot. And over the years, they have done what they could to repair elements of that structure, and specifically wood elements. And so they were below in the crawl space, replacing those elements over the years. It wasn't just in 1991 and 1998 and 2001 and so forth. They went back and continued replacing those key critical elements. So I don't think anybody really wanted to see this building go, but a lot of effort was made to keep it where it is today. So structural engineers looked into this property. They reviewed it per the code, ASCE 4117, which is the existing conditions for unreinforced masonry buildings. They went through all that analysis and they came with their conclusions. With all that said, is it possible to preserve the building? Because I think everybody would just rather just see that preserved. Well, all I know is they built the pyramids by hand. I guess anything is possible, but it is costly. It is very costly. We have really high level numbers to preserve it, but we can't say for certain, okay, that's what the cost will be. We just have a high level number. We have a situation where we have the mortar, which is very inconsistent, throughout the area. Some is pretty good shape, some is not that great. Would repointing help? That's a good question, but we almost need to tear apart the building, get to a lot of other parts that's not that well done. So it's a real challenge. So the next thought is, well, what can we do? Well, the next slide is maybe we can't preserve the exact structure, but can we at least respect the style? And that's what these visuals show. We went through a little bit of effort looking for that kind of brick with that kind of mortar texture, which is not easy. And that's what you see here. You also see the stone there in this picture, and how it is close to the greenstone that is there today. Not exact, but it's close. What we did try is we tried to maintain a lot of other elements that was important to the committee last time. For example, the roof structure, the pitch. This is 7 and 12, and at 19 and 91, and we're going to try to maintain that same 7 and 12 for this 1870 structure. So that part we addressed. The other part was the canopy. Why is that going away? And that was a great question. Why should it go away? There's nothing really wrong with it. So we're going to keep the canopy. The other question is, well, what about the vault? Is that going away? Really, there's nothing wrong with the vault. It's reinforced concrete. There's nothing wrong with it. So it's going to be kept. The doors will be kept. The vault will be kept. All we have left is what you see here in the photo with the brick cladding and the stone. But someone asked me the question, well, okay, what if we kept the brick cladding, but what if we kept the real greenstone foundation? Is that possible? So I talked to an old buddy, he's a structural engineer, and he says it is possible because it does help us with that thought in mind. It does remove a significant load we're really concerned about maintaining, but we can find a way to keep the shorter greenstone foundation. So that is possible. Now, in the staff report, there was a recommendation to the committee for approval based on a few conditions. And keeping the stone was one condition. Another condition was the brick. Is there a way to reuse the brick? Well, there's always a way to reuse the brick. There's no question it's going to be a challenge taking apart the building and preserving the brick. The brick it varies in strength, it's porous, it breaks kind of easily. It's not to say it's not doable. It is doable to take apart that building carefully. We're going to lose a lot of brick, but we think we can manage and save some brick. It's no different than in a 1991 remodel. If in the staff report, you'll see that the building had a dirt ceiling as an insulation. And the dear workers at that time used garden tools to remove that dirt. So is it possible to preserve the brick? Well, yes, it's possible. We'll find those same volunteers and preserve the brick. So how can we reuse the brick now that we can preserve it? Well, there's a few ways. One is that we do want to keep the mine doors. And it just makes sense maybe to use that same brick and accent that wall around that concrete vault. That seems to make sense. It really ties the building. It gives you the feel of a building from that era. So are there any other ways to preserve that or you reuse that brick? Well, there are some other ways. Maybe we could discuss that. So those are two conditions. Another condition is a plaque. How can we reuse the plaque? Well, or how can we place a plaque? Can we add a plaque? We're perfectly fine to add a plaque. That's not a problem at all. Add an information board, just adding some photos, a short description pertaining to this building. That's all doable. Now, the location of the plaque. We were at one time thinking inside, next to the mine door. The mine door, the vault door. That seems to make sense. It just associates what's left of the building, which was a condition to keep the concrete vault, to put a plaque next to that. But is that a benefit to the public? That was a great question that was raised. So Another thought is, well, can we place it out on the street? That's doable. So we can work through that. Now along Gold Dust Trail, it's going to be a challenge, but we think we could find a way. There's a monument sign there now. It could be close to that. So a little bit of work needs to be done, but that's also doable. So there's just a short summary of the application and some response to the comments or to the recommendation with conditions. Thank you.
Well, I would like to profusely thank you for all the efforts that you've put into our request to look into this a little bit more. The historic research that you've done is great. I know the State Office of Historic Preservation recommends when you do have to demolish a building to create an accurate historic record of how that building was built and how it was used. And it appears to me that you've done that. And so I really appreciate that and the willingness to take the design review committee's comments so seriously. I have some questions and comments, but I'm gonna let my fellow committee members start. Do you want to ask any questions or have any comments, John?
I do, but I will defer to the others that might have less to talk about first.
Welcome, Shirla. Do you have any questions or comments? Okay. I'm sorry, can you turn your microphone on? Just press that button down there. There we go, perfect.
The only question is the color that you have proposed. Is that the actual color?
Of the brick?
No, of the actual,
Oh, the stucco.
yeah.
That's a good question. Right now, that is very close to the actual color. It'll likely be landing right in that general area.
Okay, thank you.
Sharon, did you have any questions or comments?
Yes. Yes. So I'm not an architect, but it will look very similar to what we see today. It's going to. Right. Yes, it'll be like a real metal roof.
Provide us with the information.
I have one more question.
Sure.
The lighting, when you start putting up lighting and everything, all the parking and everything, are you gonna have downlit, a night skylight?
Oh, it'll conform to the local municipal code, and we can make sure nothing spills out of the property. Right now, there are only 2 light poles, and it's likely not. But we'll take a look at that. We'll take a look at how the light is being thrown.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Anything else? All right, John, you have the floor.
I want to.
Can you please use your microphone? Please, please.
It's on. There we go. I want to thank you and compliment you on the extensive amount of work you did, as we talked a little earlier. Thank you for the offering of doing a tour and explaining firsthand, tactily, exactly the scope of work of what you're intending. I would direct a request that the staff, the manager and the staff, that the document itself that's been prepared by the applicant and his consultants be preserved as a historical document. Even the engineering evaluation of the materials and the structural connections that this proposal will change, but so that there's a historical context. The timeline that the applicant has done is excellent and should be preserved. So I think this is an amazing opportunity for us to build on what we have in Skunk Hollow and this old Eureka mine site. And I would ask Ed, it's Ed, right?
Dave.
Dave, I'm sorry. That this PowerPoint that you put together, a slideshow, if you could also share that, we've obviously got it in the records. And any of the material that you did find at the archives and collect and or other sources, which in addition to what you've submitted as part of the application, could be submitted to staff. And again, it'd be boxed, titled, saved for perpetuity, even submitted to the county archives. So that's my first opening statement. So, yeah, this isn't going to be popular. I'm sorry that nobody else took the advantage to have Dave explain exactly what the intent is on the site. I did, and
I haven't gotten to my questions yet.
huh?
I haven't gotten to my questions.
Oh, okay. I'm
Letting you
sorry.
go.
Excuse me. But anyway, I took the liberties of offering my personal experiences with the old hospital with lime-based mortar bricks and talk about things of that nature. But I do essentially accept the value loss opinion of these reports that at some point in time, if you're going to have even though there's many buildings on Sutter Creek and Jackson and throughout the county that are on rock foundations like the Monteverde Store or
My house.
Wells Fargo, okay, yeah, or in Main Street, and those have been preserved because they're under the California Historic Building Codes. You can take certain preventive measures and disclaimers. But that being said, I've seen enough in the attic and I've seen enough on the walls to realize that the extent is probably well beyond what a private party could do, Jehovah's Witness being a private party, as opposed to a granted government entity under the National Preservation Grants or something of the nature. So I accept the fact that there's a considerable risk of that existing unreinforced masonry structure. That being said, you did a great job of explaining some of the things they would do to continue to provide the city of Sutter Creek with the history and the demonstrated form and the demonstrated materials that structure represents as the mine office. And using some of the materials on site, even interiorly, which you're not going to give tours. So facing the vault on the inside with the actual bricks, I think is a great idea. I'm not poo-pooing it. It's just as a historian, people will likely not see that. But you did talk about a couple other things. One was the bricks are not salvageable 100%, but they are salvageable to some greater percentage that can be reused in some other form. And you had talked about the entry. If we could take the slides back to just an overview at the front. And then does show the okay, that one's good. Well, get one that's more, no, I guess that's, the second one's better. Okay. So on the far right side is the wall with the three not actual historically accurate doors, but have been there for at least 50 years. Okay. And that they would stay on a new veneered brick wall. But the rock foundations I suggested were very, very unique. You're not going to find a rock pile anywhere in California that can replicate the greenstones that are there. And they look to me to be in beautiful shape. So I did make a suggestion, and you called somebody that said that you could entertain this, that those foundations, especially since they're chiseled cornered stones, are extremely unique, that they could possibly be just repointed and saved in their location. And the real foundation, a real legitimate code compliant foundation, slightly behind it to support a framed building, okay, that then is veneered. So the veneer is not going to look like the bricks that you currently have, but that would be impossible to do. I think it'd be economically not feasible. I did ask Ed if he talked to his people at the old hospital in Jackson. We actually did take the bricks, and even from the ones across the creek, and reused 90% of them when we historically restored the old hospital. So that can be done, but we had a budget considerably with a state grant better than I suspect your church has. So one item that Ed had mentioned was to acknowledge that these are replacement, but in some monument form, use some of those bricks because 80%, 60% can be saved. And did you talk to your people about that wall you talked about in the entry to veneer it with maybe an actual width of the original bricks? No
You mean
feedback.
just a one wide, right?
Yeah.
We'll be happy to talk about it. Yes.
Okay. So in this photo here, he had mentioned as you go the canopy, which is good to be saved, it's a ladder. That wall to the right of it, okay, it's a blank wall that they could take in a standard masonry way, use enough of the bricks that came off. They were really unique bricks, and do them like you would do a veneered house with an air gap for drainage and those kind of things that are anchored to the wood framing, okay, but would look like the bricks that are there. They're using the bricks that are there. The other three sides of the brick mine office building then would be, again, replicated veneer bricks. All of those things seem like they're making a really good step of preserving our heritage, history of this mine office. And the fact that we could, they or native sons or somebody would be allowed to do a plaque with this historical documentation, abbreviated, somewhere is closer to where people on the walk. It's on the walking trail map from our visitor center. This old Eureka mine is, and the people could see that. Their thought was to put plaques like on the building, and I talked that my preference would be to have it closer to their monument sign for the church or some other separate monument sign where people can see it, because they secure the parking lot, rightfully so.
Yeah.
And so you can't walk up to these walls at all times.
Yeah.
Those are my comments. Other than that, I am impressed that we're willing to hold the city's heritage to this value and the research you've done. I'll shut up.
Thanks for those comments. I echo a lot of what John said. I would really like to see the rock kept.
Oh.
I know my house, they did what John was talking about, where they backed the back of it with a concrete foundation. So behind the rock wall that I have is the same thing. And I honestly don't think that's that much more expensive than pulling the rock out and pouring a concrete, wall for the foundation. So I'm again, very impressed with the level of effort that you've taken to meet the guidelines of the historic, standards in the city. I don't love the brick cladding. I would love the old bricks, but I completely understand the expense is ridiculous. If you can incorporate them, great. If the incorporation is inside the building, if we can photo document that and provide that information to the city. So if there is any interpretive kiosks or whatever or walking tour QR code or whatever the city is doing to promote the historic, data on that building, that we have that as well. So we don't have to, actually go into the church to see it. So, yeah, great job. I'm very, very impressed. Great job. And with that, I will entertain any other questions or a motion.
Just, can you quickly go through what additional conditions you're putting on the project? So the three I recommended was the reuse of as many elements as possible. So in this case, that would be doors, shutters, stone foundation, and bricks
I would
on the
say
building, but
That's not reuse. The stone, I would say, try to
Preserve.
preserve.
Okay.
The stone foundation, reuse the metal shutters, as much brick as possible.
And so, John, I guess what was unclear to me is you would like to see them reuse some of that brick on exterior walls?
That was a discussion that we had, and I wasn't something I suggested.
Okay.
But the unique characteristics of those bricks if you say, save them for a city project or something, will lose its context if it's not incorporated into this building. And I understand why you can't reuse them and because of that. But it was a suggestion. I don't know if you had a chance to get a feedback from your people in 20 minutes. Did you have any?
I think we'll be able to work with it.
Okay,
Yeah.
so if you're looking at this picture here, it was suggested that where they have their sign, that wall is a flat stucco wall, that it could be veneered with the full width bricks. And you'd be able to salvage enough of them that have the running bond and then they, right, there you go. Exactly right, from there to there. Yes, yes.
Or you could do the gabled end wall.
That was my suggestion when we chatted. It
Yeah.
just seems like a big blank wall.
Yeah,
Could
Right.
we suggest that?
because then the
Just
bricks
for
aren't right next to
consideration?
each other.
It's a suggestion to their.
Well, it would be a condition that they put.
But I want to be flexible here
Yeah.
too,
Yeah.
because at some point they may not have enough brick to use. So I think it's should use them if available instead of a shall type condition, if feasible.
Yeah,
Does that make sense? So what we're looking at is a condition to, again, if feasible, maintain the brick, the rock, and that one's pretty serious in my mind.
so that's a shall. That could
Okay.
be a shall.
And then the others are to repurpose the bricks, where feasible. And then if they are in the interior, any changes to the interior or reuse of those materials inside, that we be provided materials demonstrating how they were used. Does that cover it?
And come back with some proposed monument identification location.
Yeah, that can
that's
be in the future.
accessible to the public. I don't have any problem with, again, some of the brick being veneered inside around.
Mhm.
There'll be a time, I'm sure, that the church will, because the vault is kind of unique
Yeah,
and nice. And even though on the outside, go back one slide, it just looks like a white pop out. It's a hand poured, go back. Oops, take us the other way. There. So that pop out is that concrete wall that was described, hand poured with how many thick ceiling?
Oh,
5 or 6 inches.
Wow.
Flat.
That's kind of unique.
Yeah.
It's not the 1870s version and it's somewhere in the 1900s, but it's still historically a unique piece of Sutter Creek artifact. So
okay, so we have conditions. Do I have a motion supporting those conditions?
And one other question for clarification is the sign plaque, does that come back to you guys? Work with staff to help them put that together?
I think the location of a monument and or the content of the monument needs to be reviewed by some group, city-wise. We don't
We-
have a historical group per se.
Well, we reviewed the signs, the really cool murals that were done.
Okay,
I would put it in that category.
Okay.
yeah. And what kind of a reuse of the bricks that they come up with in some part of that element?
I think that's just an informational thing,
Yeah.
though. I don't
Yeah,
think that's
okay.
something we would approve. Are they making any changes to the parking lot or anything?
No. Not in here.
I think it goes beyond the scope of what they're doing.
I was interested, the application does not, and the applicant has stated, they're actually not changing the footprint at all.
No.
Okay, they're just cleaning up some of the inside of it with finishes, which has nothing to do with us.
They were tearing up the parking lot and redoing that. Yeah. Well, in this picture it does. And when you're out there, it's not quite as devoid of education looking.
It's pretty-
All right.
Can somebody read that motion back?
Oh, yeah, let me get back, or Aaron, did you retype it or you want me to? Let me get back to my. Okay, so Provide a sign or plaque with photos and historical information on the site, which will be reviewed by the design review committee. Maintain the existing concrete vault and vault doors, reuse as many historical elements as possible, including keeping the stone foundation and should use as much, sorry, they should use as much brick or as many pieces of brick as possible along the site. And then the doors and the shutters. So that was not very clear, but I think you understood what I was trying to say.
I get it.
The main part of the approval approves them to go ahead and demolish what can't be reused and saved and do a frame replacement, a wood frame replacement, walls, roof, trusses, foundation, flooring.
No, I think they're taking down the whole, from
Yes,
stone up, they're taking down.
yes. Except for the wall and that rock foundation. So the approval to move forward is that we are buying off on that.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
The brick also has to be, the brick has to be sealed in some manner because part of the problem is that the brick is deteriorating on the exterior. So when you start to reuse it, when they did the old grammar school here, they sandblasted the whole thing, got it all looking wonderful with the red brick, but they ended up having to paint it with the white because there was no way to preserve it otherwise, and it would have continued to deteriorate.
Yeah.
So you're going to run into that kind of a problem too when you use it on the outside.
When you use the veneer, they're just going to do.
As a veneer,
thin-
but it's
thin-
still as a veneer, it doesn't matter.
It's still porous.
Exposed to
Yeah.
the elements and it's going to be something, it might not be red unless you paint it red, and as a brick color. So that might be,
No,
in the whole design of things.
we have sealers that go right over and the red still maintains its brick color.
Well, I don't know, whatever it was with those bricks, which I believe that this was probably the same vintage as brick
Oh, this
as,
is new veneer, see, new fired.
no, when they're using the old brick, when they're
Pardon me?
using the old brick as a veneer,
Yeah.
they're going to have to protect it from the weather.
So any existing brick that's used on the exterior will need to be protected. I will let you determine how.
It's just,
Yeah.
I'm just saying that that's what happened with the grammar school. Everybody would have loved to have seen it as a red brick, exposed the old red brick, but was not a possible thing to be able to do
Okay.
at that time. Maybe they have stuff now that will.
Yeah. And they
We'll make it work.
they have used an engineer on their analysis of the existing bricks. So I would assume that there's some recommendations from that person as well on how to move forward.
Yeah. If they're going to reuse it outside, if they reuse it inside, it's
Moot
protected.
point, right? Yeah.
Okay.
I would move motion to that event.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? Sharon?
Sharon, thank you.
Sure. I have Sharon as seconding it. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. Thank you again.
you.
Very much appreciated and look forward to seeing how it comes together for you guys.
And-
Thank you.
And
And
good luck
they-
with the project.
Well, I guess I have your address and everyone. Like, get a copy myself for that, for the county archives or the county historical society. Good job.
Thank you.
Okay, and with keeping with the theme of Gold Dust Trail and listening to the questions and concerns of the Design Review Committee, we have 110 Gold Dust Trail. Approved clearance for the construction installation of a prefabricated single-family residence. Erin.
Yes. Okay. So again, this one is a continued item from our last month's meeting. The applicant is here and they've made some changes to the exterior of the structure. Like I explained last month, this is a prefabricated structure, so it will be brought onto site and placed onto a permanent foundation. I asked the applicant to go look at the other houses around them in that neighborhood and to kind of take what they saw to see what kind of changes they could make to the home that they are proposing. So they, Aaron, could you scroll down a little bit and show the elevations? So they put together, they've made some changes to the elevations. As you can see, that the style will be of the light colored elevation, but they're going to be using the dark color still. So you can see there's lines that go to the different elements of the structure. We also included a revised site plan because as we were doing some more research, we figured out Greenstone Terrace cuts off the front corner of their property. And so you can see where the driveway now is off of Greenstone Terrace, or it's a U driveway that goes across, and where Greenstone Terrace is on the property. So let me go back up here. This item obviously is in the historical district, and in looking at it, I believe that they have incorporated some elements of historical design that fit in with what the design standards say, including the horizontal wood siding, the stone elements. They've also changed the windows, this window style on the structure. Yes, there are historical looking houses up in that area, but there is also a mix of a variety of houses. The across from them is kind of a Tudor style house, maybe. I don't know what we would call that, but like for example, here's an example of one that is a darker wood style house. Erin, can you kind of scroll through some of the other photos? That's the one that's directly across from them. Tudor, maybe? I don't know.
Tries to be.
Solvang looking.
Solvang, yes, that would be solvang. That I don't know what we would call that one really. Maybe, or is that the Tudor from the front?
Yeah.
And now it's a craftsman style house from the front,
Ranch.
kind of.
Ranch style.
Yeah.
A ranch. There's no
Um,
bungalow in it.
Yeah.
so just, what they are trying to illustrate, and me too, is that there's a variety of houses up there. So, and the applicant is here to answer any questions that you guys might have.
I will start like I did with the last applicant, that thank you for taking our questions and comments to heart. And what you presented is, I think, a really good compromise. And I'm very pleased that you went through that process with us. So with that, I'll start with Shirla. Do you have any questions or comments?
Yes, I need some clarity on what you're exactly doing. So the white one will not be white colored, is that correct? Okay, but what about the porch? So the porch that's showing here has the posts, and the one down here I see that there's an overhang, but I don't see any of the porch. But, okay, but it'll have the posts coming down. Yeah, the white one to me kind of looks Gothic, Italian type thing on the white one. I'm not sure how I feel about it if it was the darker wood. Yeah. 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 And so are they going to be sliding glass doors like down here at the bottom, or are they going to be like these French doors up here with the white? French doors. I really love the front door on the white one too. Yeah. Thank you.
Sharon, do you have any questions or comments? Okay, Sandy?
I do. I compliment you how, the porch changes kind of the whole style of it
Yeah.
with the looking something like this. How deep a porch is it going to be? 6, 8 feet or what? Do you know?
How wide is it?
How wide
How
porch?
deep?
Are your chairs going to fit there?
I have not heard from him.
Oh. Okay, well, I mean, that was just a question. I mean, you want it to be, I would think 6, 8 feet would be nice to sit out there and watch either the sunset or the sunset. Yeah, whatever. But
Yeah.
yes, I think it's a great improvement. I can picture it with the darker colors.
Mhm.
And you modified the windows. You did a lot to change the feel of it.
John?
I'm pleased.
Aaron, do we have the elevations from the original application?
Well, they're right there.
From the, no, that's the
From
front
the
elevation.
front, let's see. Aaron, are you able to?
Is it still, okay, we asked, I did anyway, that you look for these kit package built that actually had pitched roofs. The one you submitted looks to me to be the same one with different fenestrations, which is an improvement,
Mhm.
but it's still shed roofs. And nowhere do we have a genre for craftsman or bungalow, and that's the genre you picked of the 5 design reviews that actually does a shed roof. So I need to know, is that a clear story window with a shed behind it like you have on the left wing and the right wing? Or is there actually a pitched roof? So go back to the previous package, and I do have it somewhere.
Oh, I see what you're asking there.
I still,
He's got
so the shed roofs
I mean-
and all the examples that you showed of eclectic styles, and there are quite a few in Skunk Hall, that there's no geodesic domes and there were no shed roofs. So I'm, okay,
Yeah, so it's still,
there we go. So it's still this clear story, flat shedded roof, right? Well, I see a point. So this is a 1 in 12, and this is our clear stories. This is the roof that we see on the left and right wings. And I don't see that as being any part of those genres. Other than that, I like the fenestration changes and the fact that it
Yeah.
nestles back in there. And I
It's still a
accept the
mobile
fact-
home. I mean, it's.
Well,
it's still a manufactured home, yeah.
they had no packages with pitched roofs.
I believe what, from what your needs were, the size you want, the number of bedrooms, this was the floor plan and the style the applicant has selected.
That's a very good point.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe not too side.
I'm not talking about Main Street, I'm talking about residential properties. And or what we have given some visual incentives to in the design standards. Took a lot of time to put that together. And I don't see shed roofs fitting that vernacular, or even the fact that it's eclectic and Skunk Hollow. So I don't mind the porch, and I don't mind the elevated standards like you actually have here for this craftsman image, but
You just have to
the clear story.
plant things around the other side.
okay. I'm not a big fan of the shed roof either. However, I think with the eclectic nature that is in Skunk Hollow, and the fact that when you're looking at it front on, you really can't tell that it's a shed roof.
If you look at the site plan, you drive all around.
The side, yeah, but
You can't get
the
past
front
it.
view is the most prominent one, and that I actually can live with it. I think it's a good compromise from what we had before, and it's certainly not going to detract from the neighborhood. If anything, it's going to, I think, enhance. So those are my 2 cents.
Can I ask another question?
Absolutely.
In the white one, it has 3 windows across the top and then 2 at the bottom and the door. In the wood one down here, there's more windows. Are you sticking with the 3 windows on the top and then the 2 at the bottom with the door? Okay. Thank you.
And just a reminder that this goes to Planning Commission for a CUP and a site plan.
Okay. So this is design clearance.
Yes, just the design clearance. So
Okay.
it will go again.
Do I have any questions, comments, or a motion?
I move that we approve it with the modifications shown and keeping the colors in the warm woods colors with the.
Okay, do I have a second? Yes, please. So I have a motion by Sandy, a second by Sharon All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Okay. Motion carries 4-1. Nay.
So I will let you know when this was ready for planning commission, probably next month. Just because tonight would have been planning commission, so, and it's once a month. So I'll be in contact, okay? Yeah.
Thank you again for your cooperation and your patience with our process.
Okay.
Okay, and we have added an item of housekeeping. So Aaron, do you want to take this? or-
I don't know. I don't know what it is.
Well,
She just
I
had a
just-
question about something.
I just wondered, you know, I've requested a hard copy of, to bring it to here. My hard copy that was assured that was there, ready to be picked up, was picked up by someone else. Prior to me getting there. And I don't know whether that person didn't, but we used to have our names on
Yeah,
so that everybody knew that they got one.
we can deal with this. I don't know if we need to do it in the meeting here, but yeah, you have your name on a mailbox, right?
No, they don't have
Oh.
We-
mailboxes.
Mailbox.
So
Okay.
I leave theirs at the front desk. So just for clarification,
Take them and drop it off on the front porch, but you know, not asking for that, because you just take one.
Maybe we'll put
walk-
them below the counter and people will have to say
I,
the name to
I
get it.
did. So
Yeah.
I apologize for the mix up. The only person who asked me for a printed copy was Sandy. So
I
I
beg your
did print
pardon?
one copy and had it there.
Uh,
I'm happy to print for everybody if that's.
Don't
the style.
bother printing.
Is that nobody, we don't know any of the people in the front office. They don't know us. I mean, everybody's new. There's no history
Did you
in-
not get?
on this stuff. I don't know who picked it up, but
No.
then we had to make
Check.
another trip back to,
So why don't we just, okay, it doesn't,
they told, they said, told Bruce it was Susan.
But I sent you an
well,
email
we all have S names.
Okay.
asking for a copy and I picked it up this morning.
So who would like
This,
regular printing?
who wants to pick up their packet in person?
Well, since we're off the,
Who, do you want a
We're not,
packet?
we're still, the
I
meeting
do.
is.
And you do. So I'm the
Okay.
only one that doesn't need a packet
Okay.
because I do it. all.
I will make sure there are 4 copies going
Okay.
forward.
There we go. That solves the problem.
but
Thank
took
you,
the
Eric.
time to ask this question. I don't think I'm the only one. Getting an email late on a Wednesday night for a pickup on Thursday when the office is closed on Friday.
So our goal is to get them out the Monday before. I had met with Dave
Okay.
from the church and he was getting me his information on Monday and it took him slightly longer. So then I hurried to
We-
get it together. And as I was getting it together on Tuesday, 110 Gold Dust Trail emailed me their stuff. And so I emailed Aaron Tuesday afternoon saying, I will get stuff to you ASAP because I wanted to get them on the packet instead of making them wait one more month and then one more month for planning commission. So our goal is Monday, which is an improvement from Friday. It used to be Friday.
Yes, it's-
That's a great improvement.
improved.
So
But
And
I
also,
thought it was more.
let's hope the
important to
Monday
get-
works.
just so you guys know, there are people in the office on Friday. You can knock on the door, identify yourself as DRC. It's just not open to the general
They-
public on
So
Friday.
they do work on a Friday and I could have done, because Thursday, it's not your problem, but I had medical issues that don't allow me to get there and
Yeah.
then Friday is. closed.
We are, there are
Maybe
usually
second.
people in the front office and I'm usually here on Fridays as well. So you
Okay.
can
We
always
could shoot
knock
you
down
an email
here.
and say, I'm going
Do
to
they-
come down
do
at
they
1.
answer
Can
the
you
phone
make
on
sure?
Fridays?
Not sure. I think so.
But I can also, I will email you my cell phone number so you can also call me.
Oh, that's very kind.
And it is really hard to, I mean.
Thanks for bringing it up.
Could make it
We'll-
out
we'll fix
because
it.
we can compare the black and white pictures to the color ones, but some of those pictures are very hard to.
Does everyone have
out.
access to it online? Because then online
Yeah.
you'll be able to see it in color. So I don't know
I
if that.
did. I took it and compared it so I
Okay.
wouldn't know what I was looking at here. And then sometimes you give us a packet that we don't really need all these, everything that's in here.
I'm not going to get into that debate. 'cause
As soon as you say.
This guy wants to see it all, so. Yeah, no.
Well, I mean.
Whatever is submitted is what gets
Okay.
presented. Yeah,
And that's-
let's just, We don't need the Title 24
Yeah.
energy calcs
But
and
I
that
do
stuff.
appreciate that you can do 11 by 17s that
Yes.
we can actually read.
You
know, that you can-
site plan.
Sorry, Susan, can you go ahead and adjourn and then we can finish this?
Yeah, I'm going to. It's 6 a.m. or 6 a.m. Jeez, Lou. It's been a Monday, guys. It is 6 p.m. and I'm going to adjourn the meeting. And yeah, I think they get the point. So,
Well, I know, I just like,
yeah.